What's going on, guys? It's a little bit after 12 on Tuesday. Thank you for joining the channel once again. I am officially 17 days off of KRATOM at this point. Everything's going pretty well. A few things to note. During this process, I've been using tyrosine, kind of as an amino acid to kind of help with energy a little bit. Although tyrosine is an amino acid, it's not a drug, so it's definitely not addictive. But, for those of us who have an addictive disorder to where you're used to taking something or dosing on something regularly throughout the day, it's one of those things where I find myself taking it at a couple of times a day, when in actuality I probably don't have to take it. So that's something that I'm going to be dealing with probably starting tomorrow. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to skip any dose of tyrosine. And it's also one of those things where the jury is kind of still out. There hasn't been a lot of long-term studies on how taking a tyrosine supplement on a regular basis can affect you. They say it's generally probably harmless, but then there are some sources that say don't do it for more than about 3 months at a time. And then there's even some sources that say you shouldn't do it, but once every few days. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep that in check. Man, I'm seeming like I'm in a bad spot with the sun right here. That's not too bad. If it gets too bright, I will probably keep the video recording and pull over to my other usual spot, because I actually parked in a different spot today. Anyway, that's not too bad. But anyway, if you're a person who's on KRATOM and you have identified that relationship with KRATOM as one of concern for you, or one that is kind of heading in that slippery slope sort of direction, then this is a good resource. This channel, that is a good resource. I have a KRATOM taper playlist on there where I take you all the way through from when I was around 10 to 12 grams of KRATOM. I talk about how much I was cutting each day until the point that I completely came off of it. And and I talk about how I was feeling each day, how I slept or how I didn't sleep, or how I didn't sleep the night before, kind of what my mood is, my energy level, things I was doing to help with and or curtail those things. So I talk about all of those things. So if you have identified, hey, I'm addicted to this stuff, the first step is getting yourself off of it or weaning yourself down to get off of it, then check out my playlist, and also subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the transparency, because I'm just a guy on my lunch break after all. Using this channel as kind of my own accountability mirror, to make sure that I'm staying off of KRATOM, at least for now. I've already said that, I'm sure I'll take it again at some point. And it's funny because I left my comment yesterday, or my video yesterday, and some of the comments were like, bro, you're off of it. You're through any, acute withdrawals. There's nothing wrong with going and taking it for a couple of days, and one person even told me that they had done that. They were off of it for like, I think 31 days straight or something. It was something like that, or I might be getting the comments mixed up. But one guy told me he was off of it for a while, and then he went back and took it for a couple of days, and then he's been off of it again for about 5-6 days, and he loves it because he actually can get good effects from it now, and he doesn't have the withdrawals because he hasn't been using consistently on a regular basis and all that good stuff. So that's where the mind fuck comes in, of whether you're actually going to continue to stay off of it or not. Because I personally feel like I could do that, no problem. That I could take it just once in a blue moon once a week, once every couple of weeks, whatever, or for a couple of days, and then not mess with it again for 4, 5, 6 days. And then I know if I did that, I wouldn't have any physical withdrawals. But then again, that's always, for any that are in the total abstinence boat, or are from the school of thought of you must maintain complete abstinence from all mind-altering substances, that very thought alone that I'm having would be contributing to my addict mentality, and it would be contributing to what would you call it? An ultimate relapse on my part. That's what the AA or the NA community would say. But anyway, I respect those organizations, and they've saved a lot of people. I just think it's not for everyone, and I've already said that it's not for me, and I've talked about this relentlessly. So I'm moving forward with an approach of, I don't really care. There's going to be people out there that I'm not their cup of tea. They think that I'm preaching the wrong things on here, or I'm talking about the wrong things on here, or I'm coming off of something like that, but I'm leaving that door cracked or open for me to be able to use again at some point. And a lot of people will say that's a slippery slope, but then there's a lot of people out there that are like, it's your life, dude. AA, NA, that's not for everyone. And there's different levels to addiction, and if you're a person that's not using yourself into complete abandoned and homelessness, and you're not ending up in the hospital and rehab and this and that and the other, which I don't. I'm one of those people who I'm at least able to control it to where I've never had that. I don't have to have any outside intervention to get myself clean from something like kratom, whatever. And one of the reasons, because I was never going that overboard with it. I got too much shit to do, too much responsibility, and so anyway, for whatever reason, I didn't sleep that well last night. Still kind of having, and I know it sounds weird because I'm 17 days off of kratom at this point, but I'm still kind of having that thing where I'll eat dinner, I'll lay it down, and I'm pretty good about passing out there for a couple of hours. But then I'll wake up, and for some reason at 12, 1 o'clock, somewhere around that time, I'll wake up, and then I'm just having trouble, shutting my brain off and going back to sleep again. I'm not having any withdrawals per se. No more of the like discomfort in the chest, or not having any issues with restless legs, or sweating or anything like that. I'm past the acute withdrawals phase for sure, but definitely just having some continued interruption in my sleep. Again, I have an infant in the room, so interruption is kind of a regular thing as far as my sleep schedule these days. But even outside of him, there were times last night where he was sleeping, no pun intended, like a baby. He is a baby. He was sleeping very soundly over there for a couple of hours, and I'm just laying there, wide-eyed, just staring at the ceiling. So I finally, turned the TV on for a minute, kind of watch a little TV, hour and a half, couple of hours go by. I'm still laying there freaking completely wide awake. And then I hear him start getting riled up over there and starting to wake up. And I'm like, oh, because then I know I'm going to be up a little bit longer if he's getting up. I have, and that's why I try to explain to people on here. That's why I get kind of annoyed sometimes. People come on and they make comments like, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't seem to have a lot of empathy for other people. And what I mean by that is they don't really seem to understand that, bro, everyone's not in your situation. Everyone has a different situation. And I'm going to kind of lay that out for you right now. And I'm not making any sort of excuses about anything, but let me just put this out there to you. So I have 2 dogs, a husky and a German shepherd. Both of them are over 9 years old. My German Shepherd's about 9.5 years old. My Husky's about 10.5 years old, somewhere around in there. They're getting older. Been having some, and we also have a cat in the house. There are multiple cat doors throughout that house that were already built into the home. The person who owned the home before us was a cat person. And fortunately, they have cat doors everywhere throughout that house, including a cat door that punches through the wall at the end of our hall and goes out into our garage into what I like to call like a kitty condo. Like this probably 4-foot by 2-foot box section that the litter box of the cat stays in. So that's one of the only reasons we agreed to take, my nephew and his wife had a litter of cats or a litter of kittens. Ask us if we want one. We're not really cat people per se, but we took the cat because we had just moved into this new home, and this home was basically set up perfectly for a cat. The litter box doesn't have to be in the house, so the litter box doesn't smell up the house. The litter box is in a confined area out in the garage, and the cat can walk through the cat door into her kitty condo where her litter box is out in the garage at any time. So it was like a perfect scenario, and for that we agreed to take one of the kittens. So that's how we ended up with a cat. We're not necessarily cat people. I mean, I love all animals and I'm okay with cats, but I like dogs better. Let's just put it that way. And so anyway, my Husky, who is a little over 10 years old, is apparently starting to become either senile or we can tell she's developing some cataracts and things like that. She's just getting old. And this dog is very, very intelligent and has always been very well house trained. It's not the type of dog that would ever go, use the bathroom in the house or anything like that. Well, more recently, she's been starting to do that. The reason is because, they stay in our room with us at night, and we have 2 entrances into our room. Our bathroom, which goes out into the sun porch, and then we have the main door leading into our bedroom. Well, the bathroom door, we leave it cracked about this big so that the cat can come in there at night. And she likes to come in when we first lay down. She's a very shy sort of kitten. She kind of stays missing most of the time. She's the kind of cat that when somebody comes over to the house that she doesn't know, you won't see her for a day, 2 days. She'll just be in hiding, like up under a bed somewhere or something. She's just like that. But she's used to my wife and myself, and anytime we go into the bedroom and we go to lay it down at night, the cat comes in there for no more than like 5 or 10 minutes, jumps on the bed, gets a few rubs, we pet her a little bit, and then she vamoose, she's gone. She goes back through her little crack in the bathroom door, and then she stays out in the rest of the house, which is about a 2,500 square foot home that she has freedom to roam. And of course she's got her cat door at the end of the hall where a litter box is and all that. Well, the reason we keep that door cracked is because this cat is bad about being separated from us all night. And there's been multiple times in the past where when we locked her out, she has sat there at one of the doors, either at the bathroom or the door that leads into our bedroom, and sat there and meow, wow. And you know how they get to where and she's been fixed, so she's not in heat. She's been, she got fixed several years ago, so it's not that she's in heat. She just wants to get in the room with us, and she wants to get into the room with her family, and she'll get into that, really, how cats, when they start getting really desperate with the meow, it'll start getting lower and lower. Wow, wow. Wow. And it starts really high, and then by the time it's all over with, she sounds like a full-size cougar outside of our bedroom window. I mean, not out of our bedroom door, not really, but point being, she kind of gets riled up, and it gets more so and more so and more so loud. And so so back to my dog, my husky Bella. So for about the past 2 weeks, and granted, the last time we take her out in the evening to use the bathroom, it's pretty early, because we are very busy, hardworking individuals. We get up early, but we go to bed early. We're usually in our bedroom. We eat dinner by 7:30, 8 o'clock, kind of like clockwork. By the time 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, we're taking the dogs out to use the bathroom for the night, and then we're in our bedroom. We're trying to relax, lay down to sleep, right? Well, the last week and a half to 2 weeks, my husky has been in the middle of the night when we don't see her. She's been sneaking out of that crack that we leave for the cat to get into the room. She's been sneaking out of that, going around through the living room into the hall, and going all the way to the end of the hall, right near where the cat door is, and pissing on our floor. All right. Now, let me just say, throughout my whole house, we have hardwood floors. So that's a good thing. It's not like the end of the world. She's not like going and pissing on the carpet and this and that and the other. Although we do have a runner rug at the end of that hall that around this time last week, she pissed at the end of the hall, and we noticed she pissed on the rug. A $60 runner rug, cabin style rug. We were like, ugh. And it's one of those things where we noticed it, and at first it didn't really smell that bad, but there's an interesting thing about urine, about animal urine, right? If you just leave it there and it's dried up, which is nasty enough, you can't really smell it all that bad on the runner rug, right? But then my wife and I had the bright idea, well, let's clean the rug, let's wash it. So she sprays a bunch of stuff on it, takes it out on the deck, lays it across there, scrubs it, dumps a bunch of water on it, cleans the rug up, right? So the rug looks very nice and fresh and everything. But then we move the rug back into the house, and then for the next 2 days, I'm like, damn, now it smells like urine down here. Look, I'm not cool with that. I mean, not to like brag or pat myself on the back or anything, but my wife and I live in a home that is worth almost $400,000. Our home appraised for like $385,000. We live off of a golf course. We have a little lake behind our house. It's an acre of land. It's a nice property, right? It's a, I would say middle to upper class sort of property. Don't want my house smelling like urine. I'm very, very, very funny about that. And so the last couple of nights, we have closed that bathroom door and not left a crack in the bathroom door for the hope of that my husky can't get out of the room and go piss at the end of the hall, right? We don't want her to keep pissing at the end of the hall. And she's at that age where apparently she's having trouble holding it. She hasn't been letting us know. She's just been going out of the room and then going to the end of the hall and pissing. So it's one of those things where we want to make sure that she doesn't continue pissing at the end of the hall. So last night, we closed the bathroom door. The problem with that is now the cat can't get into the room. If the cat wants to come and wander into the room where the rest of the family is, she can't do that. So last night, I'm laying there. I already am having trouble sleeping. I did pass out maybe about 10:30, somewhere around in there. Slept, passed out maybe for about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, something like that. Wake up, and sure enough, first time I woke up, it was only like 12:15, just a little after midnight. And after that, everybody else was sleeping. It was just me that was up. But I'm up for like 10, 15 minutes, and I start hearing, meow, meow, meow. And I noticed, like, she's at the bathroom door out where the sun porch is. She's in the sun porch at the bathroom door that we've now closed. That's her usual entrance into the room. So she's at that door. And, you know, she would do it for like maybe 10 minutes, something like that. And then you won't hear it for about 60 seconds, minute and a half. And I'm like, okay, eventually she's going to get tired of doing this, right? Eventually she's going to give up. She's going to realize we're not letting her in the room, and she's just going to go lay down on the couch. Because let me back up. When we leave the door open, she comes in, she gets rubs for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. My wife rubs her a little bit. She gets on the bed, and then she jumps down. She goes back out of the room, and then we don't typically see her for the rest of the night. She doesn't sleep in the room with us. She sleeps out in the living room on like the back of our couch. You know, every morning when you walk out, she'll be laying on the back of the couch, just curled up sleeping, the cat, right? So what's upsetting her is not the fact that she can't stay in the room with us all night. It's the fact that she can't come in there for 5 minutes and get her nighttime rubs. That's what she's upset about. So last night, I wake up, I'm awake for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes, and I start hearing the dreaded meow, meow. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know, and I already can't sleep, right? I'm already having trouble sleeping. And it'll stop for a minute and a half or so. I'm like, okay, good. You know, maybe she's getting tired of it. Maybe she'll just give up and go lay down at this point. 2 or 3 minutes later, I hear her at the bedroom door. She's not at the bathroom door anymore. She's at the bedroom door. She's gone to the other door now. Now she's starting to amp up over there. Meow, 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 meow. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And listen, this went on for probably 2 to 2.5 hours last night. And to a point where eventually, you know, my wife wakes up, and she immediately, as soon as I saw that she was awake, I was like, dude, that cat, I swear, I'm going to open the door to that room, and as soon as she walks in, I'm grabbing her by the fucking fur of her neck, and I'm going to shake the hell out. And my wife's like, don't hurt the cat. It's not her, which I wouldn't. Well, I'm not going to say, I wouldn't hurt her. Like, I wouldn't hurt her beyond repair to where we'd have to take her to the vet, but I definitely can see grabbing that little bitch by the neck and stop it, you know, and throwing her onto the couch or so. I could definitely see me doing that. I don't typically harm animals, so stay out of my freaking comments. I don't harm animals. But anyway, so I tell my wife about it. I'm like, you hearing this? Are you hearing this? And my wife said, let's just open the door. Just let her in. I'm like, no. Because if you do that, there's 2 things that are going to happen. One thing, we're not ever going to get her used to being out of the room, and we're trying to get her used to it. But she doesn't have to come in here every night. You know, she has all day and all evening to come up to someone and get rubs and get petted if she wants to do that. You know, it doesn't have to be on her freaking schedule at 12 at night or 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. We're in here sleeping. You know, I'm not letting that cat control our sleep schedule. No way, dude. So I was like, no, we're not opening the door. We're leaving the door closed. And secondly, if you open the door, she's going to come in, but then that gives Bella, my husky, the opportunity where if she decides she has to piss a little bit, to go out of the room and go piss at the end of the hall. And I don't want that to happen. And if you open it up, let the cat in, and then we happen to fall back asleep, you know, you're not going to, what are you going to do? Wake up, you know, make sure you wake yourself up in 2-3 hours to make sure that the dog hasn't gone out of the room, or to make sure that the cat is not out of the room, or the cat is not in the room with you. I mean, no. You know, you open the door, you setting yourself up for more uninterrupted sleep in the future, and it's just going to continue that way, right? So don't open the door. Leave the door closed. So we're kind of in this little transition period right now where my dog's getting old, she's getting kind of senile, or either she's having trouble holding her bladder at night. We're not sure exactly what, you know, we're trying to figure out ways to go around this. We're like, maybe we should pick up her water bowl to where she can't drink water after, a certain time in the evening. We talked about trying that. We can't keep her outside. We don't have anywhere to keep her out there. We don't have a fenced in yard or anything like that. There's a lake back there. There's just, there's deer that come on the property a lot because my wife feeds the deer. There's geese, there's ducks. There's all these reasons that we can't just let her outside. She is an inside dog. She's always been an inside dog. And if she's not chained up or locked up or fenced up, she's a husky. Her ass will go missing. I guarantee you that. And I can't, that cannot happen. Because my wife and I have lost a husky before, and I thought I was going to have to commit my wife to an insane asylum because she was just so heartbroken because she lost this husky that she picked herself from a litter when that puppy was about this big. And we lost the husky when the husky was probably about 8-9 years old. She had that dog for that long, had that dog before I ever even met her. So she had known that dog longer than she had known her own husband. And the dog got out and went missing one night, and we never saw the dog again because it's a husky. It's a husky thing. They're runners. They run. No matter how good they have it at home, no matter how much you spoil them, that husky blood, that wolf blood takes over, and they're just like, phew. I'm not saying all of them, but I've known several huskies in my life that they're runners, bro. You can't let them off a leash. They will not stay with you. This ain't no damn lab. This ain't no golden retriever that'll just stay, or a German shepherd that'll just stay right at your hip the whole time. Huskies have, issues with that. But anyway, despite just my, coming off of KRATOM and my brain chemistry still trying to reset and stuff like that, because I'm not taking the kava anymore. I hadn't been taking melatonins or anything like that. So I'm still having a little trouble, not necessarily falling asleep, but staying asleep. I'm still having a little trouble staying asleep. No restless legs, no physical withdrawals, just having trouble staying asleep. And then once I wake up, my brain's just like, I'm just like, I don't understand how I can be completely sleepy 1 minute, and then as soon as I wake up, I'm just like ready to go run a marathon, but it's 1-2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I can't go do that, and so, anyway, still kind of struggle with that a little bit. I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now. I'm going to the UFC in Boston, Massachusetts, baby. Boston. That's probably a really shitty Boston accent, but I'm not taking my car. We're going to fly. My son and I were supposed to go to the UFC live event in Charlotte several months back. A lot of you who have been following me for a while remember this event taking place. I was supposed to go to the UFC on Saturday. We purchased these tickets like a couple of months in advance, and myself and my 17-year-old son were all hyped about going to this Charlotte event, which is like an hour and a half from where I live, this UFC event. Well, we find out the Saturday before the UFC event that my wife and I are pregnant. We did not know this. It completely surprised us and completely took us off guard. And so we ended up having the baby that following Friday. So my son was born at 11:15 on Friday night at the hospital, and I was supposed to go to the UFC event the very next morning. It was a morning time. It was one where it was like the prelims started around 11 a.m. and then the main card started at 2. So obviously I couldn't bounce like right out of the hospital, leave my wife in there with my baby, to take care of our newborn 1 month premature baby and take off to a UFC fight. Just couldn't do that. So we ended up, luckily she got ticket insurance, and we ended up submitting that, and they ended up giving us all our money back once we showed them. We basically sent a picture to them of myself and my wife and my wife in the hospital bed holding the baby like is this good enough? Because they ask for, when you do the ticket insurance, they'll give you your money back, but they want to know you have a good reason why you didn't make it. You can't just say, I didn't feel like going. You got to have some sort of legitimate reason. And we basically sent him a picture like of us with the baby, like, is this good enough? You know, and so they gave us all of our money back. But my wife and I, or my wife got us tickets to the Sugar Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling, baby. This is the big one. It's a pay-per-view event. This will be my first time going to a pay-per-view event like this, so I'm pretty stoked about that. That's coming up 2 weeks from now, so that's not this weekend, but that's the following week. So really looking forward to that. Let's see what else. If you're interested in coming off of Kratom out there, like, again, I have a playlist on this, but exercise is a really important part of that. I still do that on a regular basis. Eating super healthy fruits, vegetables, taking some vitamins, drinking tons of water every day, keeping yourself hydrated and helping to kind of flush out those toxins. There's things you can do at night, like taking a melatonin, or taking a little bit of kava root. You know, things like that can kind of help take the edge off. And this is mainly if you're doing like a taper. If you're doing a cold turkey from a large amount, you know, there's just not a lot except for time and allowing your body the opportunity to reset itself that can really help with pretty serious cold turkey withdrawals. There's people out there that try to disagree with me on that, but sorry, dude, just not buying it. I mean, if you do a cold turkey withdrawal and you don't really have a lot of negative effects of it, that just simply means you weren't taking a whole lot. And you weren't taking a whole lot for a really long, extended period of time. That's all that really means. You know, no offense. I mean, some people would argue with that, but everything I know about it, and I know a thing or two, if you've been taking a decent amount, 10 grams or more, you know, daily, multiple times per day for months, especially if it's a year, 2 years, you're gonna have some withdrawals. And so that's why I outlined this method of tapering and trying to get off of it here. So before I get off here, stop spying on me, dude. You're gonna be on my shit list. He commented, he was like, because I made the comment yesterday about that. I want everyone to be aware I'm not completely abstinent. Okay, that I'm not promoting NA or AA or anything like that on here, anything of the sort. I did drink a little bit this past weekend, not much. Did a little bit of, you know, so I'm not completely abstinent, and I think I have the responsibility to tell people that on here. But I mentioned how, you know, my wife and I have a hot tub outside sitting on our lower deck. We have 2 decks. Our upper deck on the back of the house is, we live on a slope like this. So our deck is coming off the back of the house, and it's like this. So my deck, my back deck, my upper deck is literally probably 9 to 10 feet tall. So when I say you can walk up under my deck, I have a canoe up under my deck. We have these big, huge 50-gallon trash cans up under there with deer corn and sunflower seeds and all that. You can walk up under my deck. Shaquille O'Neal could walk up under my deck and not even have to duck. That's how tall my back deck is. And I made the comment about I drank a little wine. I drank a little wine this weekend. You know, did that a couple of times. I don't like to say the word because it's illegal in my state, technically. But and stop spying on me. Come on. And, you know, listen, dude, you're a big follower of my channel, and you're always commenting. You're very interactive with the channel. I love that. You do need to shit or get off the pot as far as Kratom, because he's on, then he's off, then he's talking about he's going to do this, and then he doesn't ever start. And then before he even starts doing that, he's already thinking about some other method. When, dude, you just need to go ahead and get with it and do it. But he made a comment that I found kind of funny. He was like, you're 47 years old and you have to go under your porch to hit the bowl. I just do it on my front porch. No big deal. The cops ain't going to say anything. And I'm like, dude, for one thing, I do that because I have a 17-year-old son at the house. And, you know, I don't smoke weed in front of my son. I just don't, because I don't want him, he stays inside, editing videos on his computer and stuff a lot. So I don't keep weed in my house. Again, I own an almost $400,000 property. I don't keep weed in my house. I don't want it smelling up my house so that my 17-year-old son walks through like, oh, no, I don't do that. It ain't got nothing to do with the cops either, because it's basically a ticket. It's practically, it is illegal, but it's practically not. If a cop did find out, he'd probably take it from me and write me a $75 ticket or something. It wouldn't even be a criminal charge, so it has nothing to do with that either. I just don't like it in the house. And it's not my porch, it's my deck, my back deck, which is about 10 feet tall, so you can just walk right up under it. And I keep that stuff in a Rubbermaid container that sits out there down in my my canoe that I have out there, just so it's not in the house, doesn't smell my house up. When we're out there having a couple of drinks, we're out there at the hot tub, all I got to do is walk down 3 stairs, walk up under my deck when we're out there at the hot tub, and just there it is. It's that simple. Everybody's not in your situation, bro. Just want you to be aware of that. Everybody's not in your, you gotta be an empath, man. You gotta be empathetic to other people and understand that everybody's not in the same situation you are. You may not have kids at home. If you do have kids at home, you may not care if they know what you're using. There's certain parts of my life that I try to spare my children from. Some people would call that being dishonest. For me, I call that attempting to be a good parent in spite of the fact that I do use a thing or two, because I don't want my son to see me smoking weed and think, oh, I want to try that, or I want to do that. And then next thing you know, he's smoking it and he's a pothead. No, I'd rather just try to keep it from him. Now, if he eventually finds out, then I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But I'm very careful. I'm very, very careful. And I just don't smoke it all out in the open. And I don't live in the kind of neighborhood either where you just sit on your front porch smoking weed. It ain't that type of neighborhood, bro. You could have somebody driving by on a golf cart that's been out there playing golf, and you're sitting out there. This ain't the hood, bro. This is Forest Oaks Golf Course. But anyway, love you regardless, man. Shit or get off the pot, though. Make a move on the Kratom, bro, because you've been talking about it for ever since I started this channel, and you still haven't, in my estimation of what I've seen, you still hadn't made any good moves. You need to do that. Harden up, man. David Goggins, stay hard. All right, I love you guys. Y'all have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Corey is out. Peace.